capable.
Coach, regardless of the exact status of where Marvin Lewis stands, what do you think he's brought to that franchise and the job he's done from what he took over to where they've been?
Yeah, it's been tremendous. I don't know if it was the last 5 years in a row they've been in the playoffs, I think, or something of that nature. There's something like that. But, I mean, overall, he's done a tremendous job there, done a tremendous job with his teams. When I had a chance, I was in that conference division for a while, and, every single time out, they were right there in the thick of things. But then also you look at everything he's done from a league standpoint, the competition committee, et cetera. He's done a tremendous job. I stand in admiration of him.
The Pro Bowl vote, you guys having just one selection, what does that maybe say about the job that both players and coaches have been able to accomplish or have done this year? 8 wins, still in the playoff hunt.
I don't know if there's correlation there. A lot of people do, but I think a team is as important as anything. But I'm certainly proud of the guys that got nominated, voted for, that are on it. But I think more so than anything else, what they're interested in is more how the team plays and plays together, and that's the thing that I think we look at most. Is that if you're playing well as a unit, individual recognition will come, but that's not the ultimate sort of accomplishment. But we're appreciative.
I think you and the Panthers are the only teams, potential playoff teams with teams with winning records with less than 2 players. You don't look at that as a feather in your cap at all.
No.
Does it bother you at all that more of your players aren't recognized for their accomplishments?
No, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not, certainly what we think, and we certainly think there's some guys that are certainly, do some recognition in that regard, but, they have it set where there's a lot of different groups involved in the voting process, and it's a fair process, and, I think the voting spoke, but our job is not necessarily to try to our job is to win games, plain and simple. In short.
How does losing TJ for the year affect what you guys do? I know he doesn't always have the biggest role, but it seems like he's been a chain mover for you guys, and now you have 2 really unknowns, at least publicly, that Michael Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, you have to adjust. You have, injuries all across the board, but we got some guys that we think are capable of stepping in and doing a job. There may be some guys that have already been playing for us that we adjust their role depending on what we're trying to get accomplished. We got to work our way through that.
I realize maybe before I even ask this question what the answer might be, but is part of that maybe looking at Theo or Amir in more of a pass catching role since they have that skill set?
We look at every single facet to see where against the team that we're playing, what we're best suited doing in those situations. So you put everything on the table.
Yeah, Tion Green mentioned this a week ago after the Baltimore game when he scored a touchdown. This is kind of an item that's been in the news lately. He said he made one mistake, stretching the ball over the pylon or whatever it was. How much do you stress not doing that because of the risk of fumbling?
We talk about it. There's certain situations when it's acceptable and certain situations when it's not. But we know what the ills are, which you saw obviously last Sunday. It was a very sort of a prominent example. It's Amir got a touchdown earlier in the year against Minnesota, kind of stretching it out up there at their place. We talk about it. We talk about the instances where we think it's acceptable, and then some where we would discourage it.
When is it acceptable to reach?
That's strategic. We certainly don't want to talk about that one, but.
Jim, you guys have incorporated the pistol look all season. I think even a little bit last season, but really used it quite a bit against the Bears. What's the benefit when you're running out of that? Just is it the fact that the back gets a little bit more momentum going forward towards a line of scrimmage when they take the handout?
Yeah, there's a number. That's one of them, certainly, and it's more from the home position, even though it's a little bit further back, and not necessarily from a side to side sort of. And depends on where you're running and what your goal and aim is on that particular play. Sometimes, depending on the play design, it's better from there than it is from offset in the shotgun, for example.
You guys had no stuff runs, no lost yardage, or no gains in that game. First time this season. Can some of
You
that
got
be
that abacus out, man.
I know,
Yeah.
gotta count them up. But, I mean, can some of that be attributed to that schematic shift? I know you said you're always tweaking and trying to find new ways to better succeed. I mean, are you finding more success with this pistol look in the run game, you think?
No, I think we blocked better, yeah, I think number one, and and obviously it's hard in this league not to have any zero or negative plays. It's difficult, but that just shows a sign, hopefully, that we continue to get better. Let's see how we do this game.
Anything else?
Yeah, just one thing, you got kind of an unusual instance, your two brothers going against each other, the Glasgows. You don't see that, up front very often. What do you make of that? Can you remember any famous battles in your career that you've seen?
That's going to be an interesting one because of the fact that very rarely do you see them actually play head to head. We had Peyton on one team, Eli on the other. When I was at Indy, and so that in itself, just the competition is just a little bit different, in that regard. But here it's a lot different because of the fact that they could be actually lined up against one another. So I would assume it's maybe one of the first times when both individuals know the other extremely well, knows their strengths and weaknesses. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting matchup.
I did have one other thing. Just their running game. I think they're last in the league, but Joe Mixon's been in and out of the lineup, and I was just curious what they offer in that regard. The running game was sort of test that for you guys this week.
Yeah, I still think if you look at those guys up front, they have a front that's built, their offensive line's built to run the ball. I mean, they got big people, even though they've got some guys that are moving around place to place and that kind of thing. But, I think without question, they're very, very capable, and also if you guys have covered football a long time and you've seen Bernard run, he can move. He's quick, he can go, and obviously Mixon is a different individual, huge, got power, I should say, and can certainly get downhill on you with a lot of talent. So, they're very capable of running the ball well.
Joe's the off-field stuff, coming from out of the draft. At the end of the day, did you guys consider him in the draft at all? How much consideration did you guys give to him?
I think, didn't Bob have a particular statement on him that you guys kind of mulled over quite a bit, I believe? And I think I'll let that stand as it is because there was some discussion amongst you guys about that particular issue. I think it's covered, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, Jim, you did have Andy Jones on your practice squad for a couple months. Just wondering what you saw on the practice field and what he can offer this team when he gets his opportunity, if he does.
Yeah, we like him. Andy's performed well, and he's studied and worked at it. He's deserving of the opportunity he's going to get. So we'll kind of see what happens. He's been performing well. Like what he has to offer, like his size, like the way he's demonstrated his hands, and in practice sessions, those kinds of things. He can run, so we'll see what happens. And Marquez is also, but both of those guys have some real positives about them. Like them both.